Hi, everyone. Hope you're all having a great week and a good day so far. I just thought I'd spend a little bit of time today just to give you some information on how stress can affect the body. So this week I've been thinking about it, and somebody asked me why they aren't losing weight, even though they've been following the low carb diets and eating all the right things and avoiding all the things that they shouldn't be eating. And I was thinking about that and discussed it with some of my group members in the mentorship group. And one of the things that came up was stress. And really, stress has the ability to hold on to fat. And even when we're eating the right things and exercising and doing all those things, if we're chronically stressed and under a lot of stress in our lives, we're going to have difficulty to lose weight. So I just wanted to explain that to you a little bit more today and go through some of those factors that would cause you to hold on to extra weight because of stress, even when you feel like you're doing everything else right. So what is stress? Well, we get two different kinds of stress. One is internal, and that's the stress that your body goes through during every day. So even eating the wrong foods can cause stress in your body, because what happens is if we have a spike in sugar, we have the insulin increase, and then as it comes down, the body with that insulin, the sugar drops quite quickly, and then the body gets worried that it's going to go too low. So then it has to release adrenaline and cortisol to get that sugar back up again. And that's when you get those the blood sugar spikes up and down throughout the day, where you feel anxious and cravings and hungry because you can't stabilize your blood sugar. So that is kind of an internal stress in your body that can cause anxiety and mood symptoms, and even weight gain or a lot of weight loss. Some people lose weight in stress. Then the other type of stress is the stress that we know very well, and that's environmental stress. That can be relationships, work, traffic, being late for a meeting. And we know all those physical signs as well. Our body goes into fight or flight response. Our heart starts beating faster. We feel our blood pressure going up. We get like a bit panicky, sometimes even a little bit shaky. And it takes a while for everything to go down. And remember that even in a type of stress situation, which if we're late for work or you're sitting in traffic and you're going to miss your meeting, your body responds by increasing your blood sugar. Even if you haven't eaten anything that's going to raise it, your liver will then, through gluconeogenesis, produce glucose in your body. So you might find that your sugars are elevated. And that's a real problem if we're trying to get into ketosis and we're stressed and our sugars are staying high, even though we're not eating a lot of sugar. So those are two different types of stress that we get. If we think about our cells and our metabolism and our mitochondria in our body, those mitochondria are there to produce energy from the fuel that we give it. So it's either going to make energy from glucose or from ketones. So hopefully, if we're following a low-carb diet and reducing our carbs and sugars in our diet, then our metabolism and our mitochondria are going to be using ketones for fuel. That is the preferred fuel for those cells. And they make energy to run the cell and subsequently to run the whole body. That's where our energy comes from in our body. The other job of the mitochondria that is less well known is a danger sensor. So those mitochondria respond and they tell the body if they sense a danger in the body or in the environment. If we are under chronic stress, those mitochondria are going to be in a danger response, and we call it the cell danger response. That means that it is, instead of being in a thriving, healing mode, that cell and the mitochondria are in defensive mode. So they're not going to be using their energy to heal and give you more energy. They're using their energy to protect itself. Okay, so I want you to think about that, because if you feel a lot of stress and you're under chronic stress every day, you can just imagine that your cells, every single cell and mitochondria in your body, are also feeling that stress, and they are going to be in survival mode. And you can't heal and repair if your body's in survival mode. So we've got to use some strategies and techniques to change those, to allow our body to feel safe, allow those mitochondria to feel safe, that they can relax and go into more of a thrive and heal and rest and repair mode. And that's where we want to be in most of the time. Now, obviously, everyday life, things are going to go up and down. We're going to, we're constantly moving into fight or flight and then back, but we want to also spend most of the time in that grounded, what we call the vagus nerve part. So I'm going to just show you that quickly, and then we're going to talk about what stress does in the body and how it affects us. So this is a nice little graph. Okay, and it shows the vagus or the vagal nerve, the sympathetic nervous system. We've got the dorsal vagal, the sympathetic, and the ventral vagal. So a lot of people are living in this fight or flight place here. So when we say that the sympathetic nervous system is in charge or taking control, it means that you are in this area. So flight, you want to run away. You want to move away from the thing that's causing you stress. So in your body, it can feel like panic, fear, anxiety, worry, or concern. And in the fight mode, you're moving towards the stress. It can be feelings of rage, anger, irritation, or frustration. And we often, throughout the day, it's a normal thing to be going in and out of that. We get stuck at a red light when we're just about to go through, or caught behind a slow driver when we're late for work. Okay. Then some of you might recognize this. If we move higher from there, so from there we get into overwhelm, and then we go into freeze states. So it's not just fight or flight, it's actually fight, flight, or freeze. And here is where you would feel dissociation from your environment, numbness, depression. Your body wants to conserve the energy. You feel helpless. There's also feelings of shame, shutdown, hopelessness, preparation for death, and then feeling trapped in your life. Almost, people might not even be able to move or get out of bed when they're in this freeze zone. They just can't tolerate, or they can't manage. Everything is completely overwhelming for them. And in actual fact, the heart rate decreases, the blood pressure decreases, your muscle tone, your facial expressions, eye contact. So all of those human expressions are going to reduce in this area here. In the fight or flight mode, they increased. So your body's preparing to either fight or run away. And so we've got increased blood pressure, increased heart rates, adrenaline is flowing through, cortisol is flowing through your body. Okay, the pupils increase. And the blood circulates not to our digestive organs, but to our muscles and heart to prepare to run away. If we look at the ventral vagal system, this is really where we want to spend most of our life. And this is where we want to get our nervous system to be in. So it's connected with connection, safety, orientated to the environment. It's joy, being in the present moment, groundedness, curiosity, openness, compassion, and being mindful. And this is where digestion can happen, blood flows away from the muscles towards all the organs. So good digestion can take place. Our immune response is better. It's rest and recuperation. Circulation to non-vital organs like the skin, the extremities. Oxytocin is the love hormone, so we feel better. We've got a rush of oxytocin in our body. We can love and touch and connect with other people on a deeper level. And then it decreases all of those defensive responses. So when we talk about ventral or vagal stimulation or vagal recharge, it's really about talking about what exercises, what activities can we do to bring us out of that fight or flight response and take us down into the social engagements ventral vagal system. Okay, so I'm just gonna we're gonna just quickly discuss a few things. So when we're stressed, and I'm sure you all know this, when we're stressed, we are gonna crave all those high calorie, fatty, sugary foods that we shouldn't have because they make us feel better. And in that moment of feeling anxious or stressed or that we want to fight or flight, we want to eat something to calm us down, and generally we're going to reach for the foods that we shouldn't have. Okay. Stress also disrupts our hormonal balance in our body, which reduces our metabolism. It increases insulin in the body, which increases belly fat or fat storage, insulin resistance, and metabolic issues. So high cortisol, when we're stressed and we have too much cortisol, it's going to have a downstream effect on all those other hormones that are going to affect the way that we metabolize fat in our body. Okay, cravings are going to increase. When we're stressed, we don't sleep as well, and that again makes us want to crave more things the next day. So what can we do to get into that vagus, the vagal recharge? So we really want to slow down. So life is fast-paced. We are constantly on the rush, trying to go from place to place, dealing with all these different things. So it's taking the time to slow down, practice deep breathing, some mindfulness or meditation, exercise, all of the things that take us away from that fight or flight response, and then stimulating the vagus nerve. So I'm just going to bring that the PowerPoint back up to show you some other options that are there. Yes, we want to get down into the ventral vagal dominance where we can feel safe, socially engaged, curious, open, compassionate, joyful, and in the present moment. This is where we want to be most of the time. And one of the ways to do that, to really reduce the pressure on our nervous system and to get into that ventral vagal system, is to reduce the sensory load that's on our body. And this can be things from always being on the go, doing things without taking breaks to recharge, listening to loud music while driving or exercising, getting involved in exciting, fast-moving or violent movies before bed. That's going to stimulate your body and not let you relax enough to sleep. Staring at a computer screen for most of the day or a TV, overly stimulating background music, being indoors under artificial light. Okay, so what can we do to decrease the sensory load and get us out of that chronically stressed state and into the more calm vagal nerve state? Here are some other options. So we did speak about these. So sleep is important. Getting enough and quality sleep is going to help you to feel better the next day and not feel so rushed. As I said, meditation, singing or chanting, doing some yoga or Tai Chi, socializing, positive social relationships. It might even be inviting your friend or asking them to go for a coffee, just having a catch up, playing with a pet. All of those things stimulate oxytocin in your body. Some deep, slow breathing, laughter, massage, or self-myofascial release or foam rolling, if you can do that yourself. Lying down outside and just watching the clouds. Gargling or stimulating the gag reflex can also help to get the vagus nerve stimulated. Chewing gum, and then getting natural sunlight exposure. And as we know, that prioritizing your diets, the low-carb diets, reducing sugars, that's also going to reduce stress in your body. So when we're keeping the blood sugar level more stable, we're not having that constant up, down, and rush from the body or stress inside the body to try and maintain the blood sugar throughout the day, because we're keeping it stable through our what we choose to eat and through our diets. So those are just a few things. I hope you found that useful, just to really understand the link between stress, weight, and metabolism, and how we can try and incorporate some of these techniques to stimulate the vagus nerve and get out of that stress mode and into a more rest and digest stage. I want you to give me some feedback. Let me know what you've tried or what you're going to plan to try this week to help you get into that state.